Hello everyone, welcome to Trend Talks. Today I have the pleasure to talk with Benedikt Ortmann. He is the CEO of BayWa Solar Project, and Benedikt has an extensive experience in the solar industry. He worked for more than 15 years at various companies. BayWa Solar Project is a leading developer in Europe, and Benedikt has been a regular keynote visionary speaker at our events. Happy to have you here, Benedikt. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Edwin. Glad to be here.
All right. We're talking about big projects. We see a nice picture for you in the background. So what in general is your feeling is the impact of this current crisis on the large-scale project development?
Well, I mean, it's interesting because we have, as always in life, you have goods and bads about it. Well, which is bad, of course, is that the sentiment of investments in general is a bit reluctant and is a bit declining. But on the other hand, and of course we cannot go on site, or we could not for a long time, we could not meet people locally, and municipalities could also not assemble and make decisions. So that was a bit of a delay in certain processes. But on the other hand, you know, we also made the experience that some ministries are working actually quicker than they did before, because they are not kept away from their work, from people stepping in their offices. So it was good and bad.
All right, all right. Are there any particular opportunities that you see that are emerging or even increasing now, even in this crisis period?
Well, in particular, because of the crisis, the only really important thing is, of course, the measurements the European Union are now going to take in order for recovery for COVID-19, which are heavily related to renewable energies, which of course is a welcome thing to be and to have. Of course, the details have to be set out in the national kind of legislations of each and every country. But I think what we see right now, and when talking to people in Brussels, it's very encouraging, because you can really feel that the people want to go there, they want to be renewable, they want to use that historical kind of chance to make a really step forward towards renewable energies, and that's great. Yeah,
I was also pointing maybe towards some specific applications. Is there more appetite for floating or for merchant solar projects? What are is your vision?
Well, I mean, this is happening, but that actually is not affected by COVID-19 or the current crisis. Neither, by the way, it is influenced, only maybe if we look in short term in the development of the electricity prices. I mean, in general, we can say the trend into subsidy-free solar is unbroken, and it's actually, if you ask me, unbreakable, because systems are getting cheaper every day. And we are also, and you mentioned it already, applying more like installations which are more cost intensive in the first place, having higher capex. But we now experience that those like Agro-PV and floating solar, but we now experience that when we're operating those plants, actually they're getting cheaper. And there is a kind of a balancing out. You have higher capex but lower opex. So on the long time of the operation of the plant, you might end up at the same LCOE than you did a kind of an installation that you see in my back here.
Yeah.
So, in general, a trend saying we have more feed-in tariff independent schemes running, which is obviously PPA in the first place. And we have special applications being, let's say, more favorable and more fashionable nowadays, which is in the first place, of course, floating, but also Agro-PV.
Yeah. And talking about, you mentioned the PPAs. I have heard also some rumors that PPAs might have become very difficult nowadays, also given the very low energy prices. What is your experience?
So, I mean, yes, it's getting difficult because the counterparty risks are raising. I mean, if you had a PPA with Lufthansa nowadays, right, what would your bank say? Or with Wirecard, or with companies like that, who are really suffering also from the COVID-19 crisis. It also goes with big, companies in the tourist branches and so on. Yes, and the short-term electricity prices are depressed. But as we are talking long-term PPAs, the price impact is not really a big one. But what is really kind of a thing where we have to think about is the counterparty risk. And I was already having discussions on the European level, how the European Union could maybe support that by having their COVID-19 recovery plan to say, hey, if the counterparty is being downgraded by the usual agents, maybe the European Investment Bank could step in order to maintain the quality of the PPA. I think this would help. These are things which are right now in discussion, and I hope that we can get there to some extent.
Yeah. Is there something else? Is there a trend that you're currently very excited about that you see happening in the PV market?
Well, I do see that there's a lot ongoing really on innovation. May it be new applications, may it be new technologies. You certainly know there's a movement in Europe also to have a new cell and panel manufacturing in Europe ongoing, which is using the quite exciting cell and module technology. So I think there are many things ongoing right now which are very interesting and also exciting. Also on the battery side or in the inverter side. So I think we can expect lots to happen now during this phase of lockdown. All the creative people, all the engineers who are sitting at home and making their ideas. I think that will be a quite positive outcome.
So in general, you're optimistic on, given that even despite the crisis, there is reason to be optimistic.
Edwin, you know me, I'm always optimistic. Come on.
Okay, Benedikt, thank you very much for this short interview, and I look forward to seeing you at one of our events. I think in the coming days, you will be attending the Solar Pulse Europe event and be a speaker there.
Yes, indeed. Looking forward to that, yes.
Thank you, Benedikt.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.